All right, let's talk about a question that's, surrounded by a ton of myths and, well, just plain wrong information. How long does it actually take for the body to regenerate semen? In this explainer, we are going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to give you the real scientific step-by-step timeline. So let's dive right in. So, first things first. What's the central question we're really trying to tackle today? This is it, the big one. How long does it take to get back to 100%? Whether you're thinking about fertility or your overall health, or maybe you're just plain curious. Chances are you've wondered about the body's exact timeline. So let's see what the science actually has to say. Okay, before we get into the timeline, let's set a baseline. What are we even talking about in terms of volume? Well, on average, a healthy person produces about 3 milliliters of semen. Now, that can range a bit, from maybe 1.5 all the way up to 5 milliliters. But that 3 ml is the general volume our bodies are working to regenerate. So what does that regeneration timeline actually look like? Let's break it down day by day and see how this whole production schedule works. The incredible thing is, the process kicks off immediately. On day 1, the testes get right to work producing new semen. Then, by day 2, the body starts adding all the important stuff, nutrients like protein, zinc, and fructose, which thickens it up. But day 3 is where we hit a really major milestone. Just think about how efficient that is. In only 3 days, you're already back to about 80% of both the volume and the thickness. Your body keeps producing over the next couple of days, but then, this is where the process takes a really interesting turn. And this brings us to a common question that kind of challenges a lot of old assumptions. What happens if semen isn't released after, say, a week? Does it just keep building up forever? You've probably heard this idea before, right? A lot of cultural beliefs suggest that preserving or saving semen makes you stronger. So is it actually better to hold on to it for longer than a week? Let's see what the science says. So no, it doesn't just build up indefinitely. Your body has this amazing self-regulating system. After about 6 or 7 days, any extra semen is simply reabsorbed back into the body. But what's even more important is what happens to the quality of the sperm that's left behind. And this is the absolutely crucial point. It's all about quality. When semen is kept around for too long, the DNA inside those sperm cells actually starts to break down. To put it simply, the sperm begin to die, and that directly impacts how viable they are. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This has real-world applications. For instance, when you go for a fertility test, lab technicians will give you very specific advice, an abstinence period of no more than 4 to 7 days. And why is that? Because if they test after that 7-day mark, the results will just show dead sperm. It's not because of a health problem, it's just because they've been stored for too long. Now, this whole scientific reality, it flies directly in the face of one of the most stubborn myths out there, the idea that releasing semen actually makes you weak. That feeling of weakness some people talk about, it's a classic case of myth versus reality. For the most part, that feeling is psychological. It's rooted in this old cultural idea that semen is some kind of precious fluid and losing it drains your life force. Scientifically speaking, any fatigue you feel is much, much more likely just from the physical exertion involved in the activity itself. So let's be perfectly clear on this. For a healthy person, your body is a factory, not a warehouse. It is literally designed for continuous production. It's not some finite resource that you can just run out of with normal activity. The whole system is built to replenish itself, constantly and efficiently. So, since your body is this amazing factory, how can you help it run at its best? Let's wrap things up with some simple, actionable advice for keeping your reproductive health in top shape. Honestly, it all comes down to the big pillars of general health. We're talking 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep, regular exercise, a nutritious diet, especially one that's rich in protein and zinc, and, of course, trying to avoid things like smoking and excessive alcohol. These are the habits that keep that natural factory of yours running smoothly. So, we're left with one last thought-provoking question. Where does real strength come from? Is it from preserving, as the myths say, or is it from supporting your body's healthy, natural ability to produce? The science couldn't be clearer. True vitality comes from a healthy lifestyle that supports your body's incredible continuous production cycle. The focus should always be on health, not on holding back. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.